Welcome to the NFL Pick'em Podcast with your host, Anthony Kruszka. Each episode, I will go through some of the highlights from the previous week's games and give an update on which homeroom has the highest number of correct picks. Now, let's kick this show off. All right, welcome. This is the NFL Pick'em Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Kruszka. Hopefully you had a good homecoming weekend. Everything went well. So here we go. I'm going to go through some of the games. Let's see who won, who didn't. On Thursday night, we had the Dolphins playing the Bengals, and the Bengals won that one. And then on Sunday, you got Minnesota versus New Orleans. Minnesota won that. Cleveland versus Atlanta. Atlanta took that one. Dallas played Washington. Dallas won. Seattle played Detroit. Seattle won that. Tennessee played Indianapolis. Tennessee won. The Giants played the Bears, and the Giants won. Eagles played the Jaguars. Eagles won. Jets played the Steelers, and the Jets won. The Bills played the Ravens, and the Bills won. Chargers played Houston, and the Chargers won that one. Arizona played Carolina. Arizona took the W there. New England played Green Bay. Green Bay took the dub. Then Denver playing Las Vegas. Las Vegas won. Kansas City played Tampa Bay, and Kansas City took that one. And then on Monday night, we had the Rams versus the 49ers, and the 49ers took the W there. All right, now we're going to go through some of the games. I got Zane Dively and Andrew Healy here. On Thursday night, we had the Bengals versus Miami. Bengals took the dub 27-15, and Miami's looking down bad. Big injury to Tua there, so we'll see. What do we got, boys?
I still can't believe they cleared him. That was a terrible decision. Tua should have been out for at least 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say 2 for 3 weeks, but I would have sat him out for Thursday night for sure. He was clearly concussed when he was playing Buffalo. I mean, took a mean hit, got up stumbling, and then they cleared him. And then he got absolutely suplexed against Cincinnati, and you could see it in the hands.
Yeah.
The neurological response, and it was a scary injury. You know, it was one of those moments. It reminded me a bit of the Ryan Shazier injury 6 years back, where it's like, oh, is he going to play football again? Thank goodness he is. It's just a concussion, but I'd sit him at least after that game. I'd sit him for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't rush him into it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And how many quarterbacks do we think are getting rushed each week or aren't reporting like concussions or what goes unnoticed? I know I saw Joe Burrow said that he's been playing through concussions and he's blacked out multiple times in games. So I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. And then so on Sunday we had Seattle versus Detroit. Seattle ended up winning 48-45. Detroit's offense is there. The defense is not. We got Andrew.
How do we have the number 1 offense and the number 32 defense? Oh, my gosh. We are just so disappointing. This defense should have been so much more stingy. I don't know what's happening in Motor City, man. Our offense is looking really good. I mean, we have the number 1 offense. Jared Goff's looking decent. We didn't have Amon-Ra or DeAndre Swift, which was kind of disappointing, but Jamal Williams is still a beast. We have one of the best backfields in the game. But our defense, man, is just we can't pressure the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson has 3 sacks, and they were all in one game against the Commanders. They barely don't even count. Charles Harris ain't doing much. Jeff Okudah's been looking all right. But, I mean, with our injuries in the secondary, Awarrior is just giving it to the other team.
Yeah.
He did the same thing against the Vikings. There's so many penalties he gives up, and he just gets burnt in coverage over and over. This was just a shootout, and we should have won this shootout. Our defense should just be much better.
I will say one thing. How about Geno Smith? I mean, I think he's top 3 in the league in passer rating, or he's something like that. He's having a phenomenal year. I don't think Seattle's the worst team in football this year. I think this is 2 teams. If Detroit figures it out on the defensive side, they're going to be a wild card team. You heard it here first. I mean, the offense is there. DeAndre Swift, he's going to play great. They have, I would say, a top 5 line in football, offensive line. Jared Goff is looking a lot better than he did in LA and even in Detroit last year. And then with Seattle, you see Geno Smith playing great. You see, I mean, it was funny. DK Metcalf, everybody was worried he got carted off the field.
Yeah.
He just had to go to the bathroom. I mean,
He
yeah,
cleared Paul Pierce's
moment,
name.
yeah.
Yep.
hey, the Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Detroit, they have a bright future. It's just a matter of cleaning it up a little bit. I still don't think Dan Campbell's the one to blame. He's good at firing up a locker room. He just needs to figure out his play calling a little bit more. I think they probably need a new defensive coordinator, considering, I mean, you see almost no development from Aiden Hutchinson. Jeff Okuda's finally figuring it out in his third year in the league now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Third year in the league.
First round
Amorier
pick.
looked like he was going to be great last year, and he's just blowing it. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just been brutal. So, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Detroit sports. It's just never enough. You have a rebuild, and then you have to rebuild the rebuild. It's just the same story year after year.
Yeah, it's just pretty embarrassing to let Geno Smith dance all over
Yeah.
you. Anytime we play a mobile QB, and I wouldn't even really consider Geno a mobile QB, but he was when we played them. Anytime that happens, Detroit just falls apart, and it's just really
I
it's
don't,
just
I
not
don't even
good.
know if we had less than like 3 sacks this game, and it's kind of been the same story. We just cannot pressure the quarterback at all. It's disappointing to see.
All right, so then the next game we had Jacksonville versus Philadelphia. It was 29-21. Philadelphia took the W. Jalen Hurts is looking really good. What else?
I'll say one thing. I am all aboard the Trevor Lawrence train. I mean, he looks great. It was a rainy game, and he played a phenomenal Philadelphia team very close. Looked like a blowout at first, then they started clawing back. Jacksonville's going to be a tough team to beat. I think they're going to finish in a wild card spot. I see them finishing better than the Raiders, the Broncos. I mean, arguably 3 of the AFC North teams. I think they'll finish better than my Steelers with how the track record's looking right now.
They could sneak in and win the AFC South as well.
I don't know if I'd put them in the South. I think it's the Titans to lose currently because the Titans are – I mean, Derrick Henry's starting to figure it out again, but the Jags look like a very good team. Doug Peterson's looking great as their head coach, seeing phenomenal development from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you saw what he did to Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. He had him – Carson Wentz was an MVP quarterback those first, 11, 12 weeks in 2017.
Yeah.
Except for the injury, he probably would have won it. He led them to the Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And you have a talented quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, who gives me shades of Peyton Manning, but with mobility. I think it's going to be a very good team, a very competitive team. Philadelphia continues to be the team I thought they would be. I see them running away with the NFC East this year. Yeah, the Cowboys and Cooper Rush and all this, but have they really played anybody worth their time?
No.
They played the Giants on Monday night. The Giants are an awful team, disguised by a 2-2 record and Saquon Barkley. But, I mean, the Eagles look great. Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal quarterback. He's being who they thought he was at Bama, and he is really looking good. We've seen him take strides. Him and A.J. Brown have an unreal connection. Yeah. I mean, you see A.J. Brown go up for a one-on-one, even a 2-on-1 jump ball, and it's a man among children out there. He's just going to rip it out of the corner's hands if he has to. He's terrific.
Yeah, the Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown receiving duo is one of the scariest in football. It's insane. And that Philadelphia defense looking really good as well.
Yeah, Philly should have
They're going far.
Yeah, they're going to have a good season, and I was looking at the rest of their schedule.
I don't know about Super Bowl contending, but
yeah,
I could see them divisional, maybe championship game. But
I could see them competing for a Super Bowl. The NFC is weak this year.
Yeah, it's really the rest of their year is really it's just weak. I don't know. Maybe
they have a really easy schedule.
I'd say maybe the best team they play is the Cardinals.
Oh.
And I mean, would you agree with that? I mean,
yeah. Their schedule is very easy.
Yeah, they play the Cowboys a couple times, Giants a couple times.
Those are easy wins. Those are all easy.
They play the Texans.
The Commanders are 2 free wins.
Colts haven't been anything crazy.
Jonathan Taylor hasn't really figured it out.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not going to lose a lot of games.
No, that's going to be like a 12-5 record or more.
Yeah. All right, now we got the Jets played Pittsburgh. Jets took the W 24-20. Zane let it all out.
Oh, boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week. Well, You saw Mitch in the first half. How do you pass for 84 yards, 1 interception, and you'll get a single touchdown? It's ridiculous. You have a phenomenal receiving core, and you refuse to move the ball downfield. Matt Canada, I cannot believe he's still employed. I mean, unbelievable. It looks like you're watching 1960s football out there. He's just terrible. There's no extending the ball downfield, and then halftime hits. And then you hear the kid get called out. You see him get called out. 2 rushing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 weren't his fault. Claypool dropped the pass. Other one went off Freiermuth's hands. The third one, garbage time play. He was just trying to get lucky and get one down the field. But when you saw him extend the ball downfield. You saw the diversity in who he passed to. With Mitch, you didn't see him look at anyone other than Deontay Johnson. I mean, I want to say Pickens caught maybe 4 passes before this week, and then he comes in, and I want to say he caught 5 or 6 at least in one half with Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett, he brings a different energy to the field. You heard Heinz Field get loud. And another thing about the Steelers is we're getting ran on right now. You don't have TJ Watt to pressure the quarterback. The run isn't getting blocked. Miles Jack's the only linebacker doing anything because Devin Bush is not what he was. And in the secondary, we're just getting cooked. I mean, Witherspoon has his moments, but you really saw it against Cleveland last week where he was just getting burnt play after play by Amari Cooper. And you see it with these Pittsburgh cornerbacks. I mean, just getting cooked. Sutton, though, he looks really good. He's going to be a very good cornerback in the future. Obviously, Minkah Fitzpatrick, I still think he has a shot to win Defensive Player of the Year with how he's been playing. He had one game he didn't do anything in, and that was the one against Cleveland where just no targets went his way whatsoever. So, I mean, if they throw away from him, you can't expect him to make a whole lot of plays. But I'm optimistic. I think we're going to play Buffalo close. Do I think we'll beat them? Probably not. But I think it's going to be a complete culture change in the Steel City, and I am really looking forward to this new era of Steelers football. Finally happy to be done with the Trubisky era.
So Pickett's getting the start?
Oh, yeah. It's been confirmed by Tomlin. He's number 1 on the depth chart. He's mature. He's, 23 already?
Yeah.
Graduated as a senior out of Pittsburgh. I mean, he's been playing at Heinz Field, Acrisure now. But he's been playing in Pittsburgh for the past 3-4 years. I think he's built for it. I think he's ready for the big lights in the Steel City.
All right. Next game, we got Buffalo versus Baltimore. The Bills won 23-20, and I'm pretty sure they climbed back down big, right?
Yeah.
And Ravens lose another one like in the last final seconds or last couple minutes there. Yeah. So
Bateman was out. Mark Andrews did not exist. He put up a solid 3.5 points in fantasy. I was so happy to see that, of course, as he's my starting tight end. Buffalo, they're starting to get back into things. Josh Allen's looking like himself again. This is just a nice momentum shifter for the Bills and the Ravens. They're 2-2 now, right?
pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they're 2-2 now. They're looking kind of rough. I mean, their secondary is really strong. They have a lot of good players, but they're just not showing what they're capable of.
I think this week shows that Harbaugh is not the coach we thought he was. I mean, the play calling there was brutal. I mean, why would you try to go for 6, almost 40 yards out, instead of getting the 3 and going to overtime against Josh Allen, who's shown he struggles in overtime? Saw it in the divisional round last year. Harbaugh needs to clean up the play calling. He's got, in my opinion, I think the MVP quarterback in his hands right now. I think Lamar's the current front runner. He's been unreal.
Mm-hmm.
If the Ravens pick it up, the play calling gets a little bit better, they're going to be the heavyweights in the AFC this year, in my opinion. They're going to be the heavyweights, and they just barely lost to another heavyweight.
Yeah, to score 14 in the first quarter, 6 in the second, and then just never score again.
That's that line stat
in the second half.
That's the line stat line.
And you got Lamar. You should be scoring. I mean, there's no excuse.
He's scoring 80 points a year.
So, yeah. we'll move on to the next game. We got New England versus Green Bay. It was an overtime game. That's pretty much why we're covering it. I feel like, and just because it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Green Bay should not be going to OT with New England
Against a third-string quarterback, might I add. That Green Bay defense is looking rough, and that you can tell that Aaron Rodgers is missing Devontae Adams. The Packers wide receivers have a weird obsession with dropping the ball when they're wide open. The rookie ones, Romeo Doubs, is the professional dropper now. I don't know why. I mean, he looked really good, but I don't know. This Green Bay should have won by a lot more. This should have been a blowout, but yeah, they're here now. This NFC North is looking a lot more competitive than I thought it would. So I'm excited for that. All right, next game.
Good. Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. Kansas City took a W, 41-31. Patrick Mahomes doing what Patrick Mahomes does. He was dancing around.
Yeah.
Just looks really good. And who knows what's going on with Tom Brady.
They put up more than 10 points this game. Who would have thought?
Yeah, that was nice. But
yeah, this was actually a very high-scoring game. I mean, I didn't really get to watch much football Sunday, but I'm sure this was an entertaining one. And Patrick Mahomes is still looking like his old self, looking great. Tom Brady's looking okay for how old he is. He's not looking too bad.
Well, the thing is with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he just has this unreal ability to make plays out of something where he should just throw it away.
Yeah.
Like you've seen the play. He did a spin move. It looked like he had a basketball jump shot into the end zone for a touchdown. Unreal. Tom Brady looking back to his normal self again. The system quarterback, the check down passes, the 13-yard gains. Mike Evans back. That was huge for him. Mike Evans,
Chris Godwin back too.
Yeah.
Godwin had a decent game. A little bit of an injury there. It was a little scary, but he was back on the field. I mean, I will say, even though I think Lamar Jackson is the current MVP frontrunner, do I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL? No. And I can't believe in the past couple of years,
I agree,
people continue to stray away from thinking Patrick Mahomes isn't the best quarterback in the league. I mean, talent-wise, he's unreal. He can throw the ball.
He can do it all.
60 yards downfield with crazy accuracy. He doesn't need Tyreek Hill anymore. He's got Travis Kelce. He's got Hardman. He's got Juju. Edwards-Helaire look great so far this year. I mean, they are a good team. They're a good team to play. They're going to make it an interesting game always. And, I mean, it's just a crazy culture in Kansas City. Everything, all the plays are unorthodox. I love how Andy Reid's running it. He just says, here's a play, Mahomes, make something out of it. He'll do the sidearms. He'll throw it left-handed. It doesn't matter. He won't look at you. He'll throw it your way. There's nobody in the league, in my opinion, with as much talent as Patrick Mahomes.
And he's just so unpredictable. He's probably the hardest quarterback to read in the NFL.
Yeah. He's pretty much – it's like he's just playing a game. Like he's playing a game of Madden.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many highlights that come from him too. It's just like unreal. So then we got Monday night.
Oh, man.
Rams versus San Francisco, 24-9. 49ers took a W.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How did these guys get to the Super Bowl? How did they win the Super Bowl? They couldn't beat Jimmy Garoppolo-led offense, and I mean the San Fran defense is looking very solid, but
big for fantasy, 30 points.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's
huge.
Just nothing you can do to combat Deebo Samuel right now. I mean, every week, all the offseason rumors of him being a diva and wanting more money. Well, he's earned it. I mean, that is a top 5 receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. I mean, yards after catch, I want to say he leads by a stupid margin.
He's one of the best receivers in the open field. You can't tackle him.
Crazy dual threat. I mean, he just carved up the Rams, who supposedly have a top 3 defense in the NFL. That didn't show at all.
No.
24 points. You're letting Jimmy G roast you on Monday night. I mean, the Super Bowl hangover is killing the Rams. I mean, Matthew Stafford's only throwing to Cooper Kupp. He doesn't have a number 2 option anymore. Odell's gone.
He doesn't throw to Allen Robinson at all.
No.
There needs to be a number 2 option in LA.
Besides Tyler Higbee.
It's Kupp and Higbee pretty much.
It's going to go south. It's going to go south quick, and I could currently I don't see the Rams winning the NFC West. I think it's the 49ers division to lose at the moment.
If their defense plays like how it is.
They're a good team. I mean, they're obviously the 49ers are hurting. They're missing Trent Williams, a phenomenal defensive lineman. I mean, he'd be the best if Quentin Williams didn't exist. Yeah, I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. When you're the Rams, you have that Super Bowl hangover. As much as you want Matt Stafford to succeed, he needs to open up his playbook a little bit more.
Matt Stafford has been playing way too risky as well. He's been throwing just way too interesting passes. He led the league in interceptions last year.
Yeah.
Which is really surprising because he never did such a thing on the lines. I don't know why. He just asked – he plays so risky. I don't know why.
Yeah.
When he really shouldn't.
I mean, we get it. You got Cooper Kupp, but you got to share the ball a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Allen Robinson should have a lot more targets than he does.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got for this week. That's all the games. That's what we thought. And now I'm going to bring on everybody's favorite, Jimmy Fackelman, the homeroom reporter. Here he is.
What a wonderful intro. Thank you for that, Mr. Kruszka.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm glad to be back after missing last week, feeling a little under the weather, but nothing stopping the Pick'em podcast this week. All right, let's get into it. So the tops for the week, Dennis, Canales, Richter, West, all come in with 11. But the story of the week, Mrs. Priest's homeroom going 15 for 16. Unbelievable. Tops for the week, tops for the season. Absolutely phenomenal. On a different note, Ms. Holmgren, the homeroom, putting up 5 points. It's lackluster, to say the least. You pick all one side, you put up more than 5 points. I'm just saying, the Russo strategy does have some merit to it. All right? Coming up next, we got the people's champion, not a champion this week, Mr. Weber, coming in with 8 correct picks. Not bad. Very, very average, though. We need to see more from Weber if he wants to crack the top 3. Your top 3 coming into week 5. Mr. Dennis with 37, sitting in the 3 spot. And then tied for first place right now, neck and neck. Mr. Earl and McMahon with 39 points apiece. Absolutely phenomenal picks from them. Couldn't ask for much more. But then again, who is going to top 15 correct picks from Miss Priest? That is unbelievable.
Yes, sir. There we go. That was the homeroom report. Everybody make sure you get your picks in. You're going to be behind if you don't get your picks in each week. Priest, they had 15 picks correct this week, and somehow they're still not at the top of the leaderboard there. So, you got to get them in. That's your best bet for staying on the top, is getting it in each week, staying involved. So, make sure you keep tuning in and, getting your picks in. So, all right, that was it. Everybody have a good week, rest of your week. And it's Anthony Kruszka signing off.